Positive social connections are one of the keys to resiliency. We want to hear from our Cal Maritime community, cadets, faculty, staff, admin, and alumni. Got any feedback to share? What topics or guests do you want in the next Resiliency Project podcast? What are your life hacks or advice that helps you navigate through? Have any encouraging comments to share for our listeners? Email us at resiliency@csum.edu to be featured on our next Resiliency Project podcast.
All right. Hello, and welcome to Resiliency Project podcast. I am Vineeta Dhillon, the Title IX coordinator at Cal Maritime and the chair of Women in Maritime Leadership Conference. It is my pleasure to host Cadet Matos and alumna Erin Pierson on this podcast. Cadet Matos, also known as AJ, is a senior in Global Studies and Maritime Affairs. She serves in multiple other roles on campus. She's our peer health educator. She is a mentor for our educational opportunity program, and she is an athlete for our women's water polo, a busy one. And also alumna Erin Pierson, who is our Alumni Association president, works as an HSQE manager at FOSS Maritime. I will let her tell you what that is. She joined FOSS in 2015 as safety and security manager in support of the Shell venture at Seattle's Terminal 5. Later, she took on the role of company security office and HSQE manager for FOSS fleet of vessels and the Seattle shipyard. In June of 2020, she relocated back to her hometown in Vacaville. It's right next to where I live, Erin, and is currently based at FOSS Richmond office. Without further ado, I have AJ take it away.
Okay, excited to be here. So first off, Erin, can you tell us a little bit about your experience at Cal Maritime?
Sure. Really quick, though, I'd like to just thank Vineeta for the invite to the podcast and for the warm welcome. And AJ, it sounds like you're doing some great things. So congratulations to you. For me, I had an excellent experience at Cal Maritime. Going in, I didn't have a maritime background. I grew up on a small ranch, never spent much time around the water. But I quickly grew to love the industry and the experience that Cal Maritime afforded me in college. Being able to travel abroad as part of our training is something that is very special to me. Having never sailed following graduation, I'm thankful for the experience of being able to go to sea to learn the art of navigation while being able to see some of the most beautiful and interesting places around the world. So for me, it was just such a great experience. And if I had to do it over again, I would always choose to do it again.
What major were you at Cal Maritime and when did you graduate?
I graduated in 2002. My major was business administration. At that time, there were only 2 deck degrees. It was marine transportation and business administration. So you were still a licensed track cadet at the time. So I have a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration.
Wow, so different from what it is now.
Yes.
So the next question is, you have mentored freshman cadets at Cal Maritime for several years. Can you please tell us what got you started with mentoring?
Sure. I haven't done a lot of long-term mentoring. However, there's a cadet who graduated just this year, who I've informally mentored since her freshman year on campus. We actually met in Seattle prior to the start of her freshman year, and to this day we're still close and we speak often. And the reason why I continue to mentor this cadet was due to the continual initiative and motivation that she showed, which allowed her to successfully complete the academy and then get out into the industry. No matter what the situation was, she always kept her word. And she just showed some extreme interest in the industry, tugboats in particular. And so for me, I always like to give back to a cadet through mentoring, so long as they continually show interest and seek to take on challenges. And she did just that.
Wow, she's really lucky to have you. I wish I had a mentor like that in the industry. In your magazine article, you noted that you like being able to shape the direction of someone's career and set industry expectations early. What pieces of advice would be helpful for someone pursuing a career in the maritime industry, and what are examples of those industry expectations?
So the biggest piece of advice that I can give someone pursuing the industry is to maintain integrity, show initiative, show a prospective employer your willingness to learn. The academy gives you a great education, but you don't come out of the academy knowing it all, so to speak, right? There's just still so much to learn. So following through on your word, don't allow distractions into the workplace. An example, one time several years ago, I took a cadet on a ride along at a position that I held in the container terminals. And granted, it wasn't an interview, but this was a cadet who was interested in working in this line of work. And she had her phone out the entire time, was text messaging. And this is something that I think a lot of people make mistakes. So when you're given an opportunity with a prospective employer, or you're on the job as a cadet going for an opportunity, whether it's an internship or your commercial cruise, don't become distracted and always give it 100% and ask questions. I think that goes a long way in showing a prospective employer your willingness to go 100% for them.
Some pretty great advice for a lot of students doing internships right now and looking for jobs after graduation. Like me, I'm about to graduate, so that was really good advice for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So shifting from expectations to current unexpected conditions due to COVID, what in your experience prepared you for the current difficulties we're facing with COVID?
That's a great question, AJ. I'm not sure any of us were really prepared for COVID, but I would say I've seen many firsts in my career thus far, and this is certainly one of them. I think during times like COVID, you have to buckle down and get ready for the long haul, and be willing to rise to the occasion or step up to the plate, as they say. It's important to listen and learn so you can make the best and informed decisions possible. And use your resources and be a leader to set the example. In situations like this, I really tend to put my antennas up and listen and learn from people above me or even counterpart. And I find that it helps to prepare you for moving forward in situations like this.
Okay, so the next question is, how has COVID built up your resiliency?
So another great question. There's no doubt that COVID has changed the way we live. For me, I think it's this pandemic is one time in my life thus far where everyone's put on a level playing field. We're all up against the same challenge. In years past and hopefully years ahead, some people have good years and some people have bad years. And I think we can all say there probably is some positives to this year, but it's definitely been a year of change. I've built up resiliency by adapting to our new normal, as they say. I try to utilize some of the unique technology advancements that we have that allow us to remain social people. And having the ability to video conference with people has been great for me. For example, my team at work, we meet regularly, and I found that once we had the ability to meet face-to-face with the MS Teams platform, it was something that I looked forward to more because I actually got to see the people that I work with. I think it's also important to get outside when you can and go for walks and, take little small day trips in uncrowded places. These types of experiences just have really allowed me to accept how we're living right now and maintain a level of happiness. That being said, I can't wait until we're able to live in a normal world again.
May I ask a question, Erin?
Sure.
Are you using technology to connect with socially with friends and family, or is it primarily your way of communicating with colleagues?
I'm using it with colleagues, the Alumni Association. We've been using it in all of our meetings, occasionally with family and friends. In fact, this weekend, our Puget Sound chapter of our Alumni Association is having a happy hour. So we've used it for Fourth Thursdays and fundraisers. But, for me, I live close to my parents, and I rarely spend time with anyone else. So, we take the precautions necessary to be able to have that face-to-face interaction.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Sure.
What are some tips you would give to our listeners for self-care? Especially right now, we're having finals, so everyone's kind of stressing. So what are some tips you have?
So I think for self-care, especially during this time, it's extremely important to try and live as close to what we consider as normal as possible. Keep your routine. If that means getting up and immediately getting ready for the day, you get up and you get ready for the day. Get outside, go for walks, maybe do some yoga to try to relax. I'm lucky, I live close to a park, so I get out with my dog and my new foster dog, and we get some fresh air. In fact, we just got back from a walk before this call. Take breaks. It's important that when you guys are studying for your finals that you take 10 minutes for yourself and get up and stretch or go outside and just take some deep breaths, and just kind of mentally, stay prepared. I think it's important also staying in contact with family and friends, whether it be a phone call or video chat. When working or attending online classes, again, taking frequent breaks really helps. And it's important to maintain feeling good, especially during this time.
So AJ, I have a question for you. You must be
Yes.
stressed, and you're not even in the country right now. You want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing to stay above water here?
Yeah, so I'm not in the country. I've been in Mexico, and I kind of took advantage of having online classes to reconnect with my roots and expand my ability to speak Spanish because I'm not a beginner or a fluent speaker, so I just need to be immersed and practice the language. So to handle stress in school, I just try to go out once a day to go eat. Like just walk and be out for an hour, go get food, and then come back. So that's my way of relieving stress and just taking time to talk to family members through FaceTime. And then I would really enjoy having meetings with EOP or Peer Health or the podcast because I actually got to see people back at home. So that was my way of de-stressing.
Thank you so much. So do you have any last words for us, Erin or AJ, as we close out this brief podcast?
For me, I just, Vineeta, I appreciate the opportunity to be involved in the podcast, and I appreciate you working with my schedule. AJ, it sounds like you're doing some amazing things, and I'd like to give you the opportunity to reach out if you have questions or need help with anything. I'd love to get to know you and be able to, just answer any questions that you may have as you head towards graduation, and Vineeta can connect you with my email address.
Thank you so much for that.
You're
welcome. You'll be a good resource once I graduate. and thank you, Vineeta, for bringing me on the podcast. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And we will continue to do these podcasts with alumna. I think we're scheduling one for next month. With Rachel North. And so stay tuned for that. And finally, I don't want to miss out on the opportunity to make a absolutely shameless plug for the 10th annual Women in Maritime Leadership Conference. That is March 4th and 5th. It will be a virtual event. We can all thank COVID for that. But we are excited, and we're bringing in some great speakers. In fact, one of them will be speaking on resiliency. So I hope that you will Zoom in and make more contacts. There will be opportunities to network as well as get some good nuggets from experienced maritime professionals. So with that, thank you again, both of you, for joining us today, and happy holidays.
Same to you, Vineeta. Take care, AJ.
I thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.